Hello, and welcome to a Dauntless Development video. Today, I'm going to be talking about, do you need a degree in order to get into games programming, games development? Yeah, if you want to make games. Uh, I'll give you two TLDR versions. Yes, if you want to get into industry and get a job, it is part of a company because they require you to have a degree. That's one of the things they look for. Either that or maybe years upon years of experience. Maybe you've published lots of games in the past. Maybe you've been part of an indie team and you never had a degree or part of the company somehow. Maybe you know somebody, you might be able to get you in. But generally, yes, you will need a degree. Um, no is the other answer. If you want to get in indie games, you don't need a degree. You can do it. If you're not looking to get into university at all, you could just do it as a hobby, start off with a hobby whilst you're working, or if you're coming from the perspective of somebody who's looking at going to uni, maybe you're in sixth form or college or maybe younger, you don't need a degree. That's the TLDR version. You do not need it. However, now that that's over with, you can leave if you just wanted a short answer, but I'll explain it now. The reason why I say this is because realistically, on the internet, there are tutorials for everything. As somebody who has just concluded a 4 years integrated master's degree, I would say probably at least half of what I learned was actually learned from YouTube tutorials and not from university, because there is such a wealth of information out there. And one of the key things you do learn when you're learning to program is don't be afraid to look it up. Don't be afraid to look at Stack Overflow. Don't be afraid to look at YouTube and watch Brackeys tutorials for Unity, for example. There are countless resources that you can use online in order to get where you want to be. However, a caveat to that would be the reason I went to university. Well, one of the reasons was I thought I had to. I thought it was the only way. My dream was always to be an indie games developer, but I thought that sounded a bit scary, setting it on your own kind of thing. So I thought it would be far easier to just get a job in a company. So I thought you need a degree for that, which is right, you do realistically. At least I would. I don't know anybody. So I went on and got a degree. But if I hadn't, I tried to learn it myself, I likely would not have stuck through it because I have a great problem with sticking with things. I've tried to learn countless instruments. I have attempted to learn other programming languages. I tried to program before I came to university, and it lasted about a week before I just gave up. I need a lot of motivation to do things, and as soon as I lose motivation, I just stop. It's terrible. Uh, but if you're like me and you struggle with motivation, then something like university, some kind of structure, is incredibly valuable. Yes, I learned a lot of stuff online, and in university there is a lot of modules which maybe aren't relevant to the subject. People refer to them as filler modules. So, like for instance, I was doing a specifically games programming course. However, we spent a large amount of time doing things that were related to databases and stuff like that, which isn't. Yes, there can be databases involved. Obviously, you can always find a use for a database, but that's generally more along the line of computer science, which wasn't really relevant to us. However, even though there are these filler modules, you still have the structure there that teaches you, that keeps you on track, that makes sure that you are held accountable. And that accountability is very useful when you're learning something. I mean, I know for a fact in the first year I went in with pretty much no programming knowledge to begin with, and I did terribly. I was struggling, and had it not been for the structure and the fact that I was kind of tied into university, I probably would have stopped. I probably would have quit. But I felt like I couldn't, so I carried on, and here I am 4 years later, very happy that I did. Um, so what I would say is that if you have the motivation, maybe you've got somebody else to keep you accountable, or you have some way of keeping yourself accountable, and you're wanting to go into indie, and maybe you're looking from the perspective. This is more aimed at this perspective of somebody who might be in sixth form or college. Then maybe strike it out on your own. However, what I would say is it's going to be tough at the start. You're not going to be able to just learn it all in a week. It's going to take a long time. So if you have no knowledge to begin with, I would really say you should go to university. On top of the fact that you get all the social benefits, like you make loads of friends, you encounter people you would never have encountered before, which when I was first starting university, I thought that wouldn't matter at all. That was not my concern. I was quite content to go to university and never make a single friend, and I didn't want to socialize with anybody. And then 2 days into Freshers Week, and I was socializing with everybody. So it's an experience, but you don't need to. If finances is a worry, it's not necessary. If perhaps you just want to get straight into it, you don't want to waste years. I mean, at the end of the day, I could have potentially, if I'd learned it myself and if I had the motivation, which I would not have, and if I'd tried to just learn it myself, I probably could have condensed this 4-year learning experience into 2 years, or maybe a bit less. However, I don't think I would have achieved it at all had I not gone to university. So, I mean, the kind of the summary of what I would say is, despite the fact that you are fully capable of going to university, of not going to university and going into programming or design, I would still recommend doing it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for the masters like I did, because I feel like that was a complete waste of a year. But I would say some form of formal education on the subject is very valuable. I mean, now these days I have a lot more motivation to work on programming and games and stuff like that because I have the knowledge already. However, when you've got this mountain in front of you, it can be difficult to want to climb over it. Sometimes you just think, why not just stay where I am? Why not go the easy path, which is what I would often take. And university kind of forced me not to. But yeah, so if you want to go indie, you don't need to go to university. By no means. If you really don't want to, if that's something that's very much worrying you, you don't need to. But I would highly recommend it. It is a very valuable experience. Especially when it comes to like living on your own for the first time and stuff like that. It's great. And for anybody who isn't looking from the perspective of somebody who is maybe in sixth form of college, who's looking to go into university next, and maybe you're beyond that. Maybe you already have a job, perhaps, and you want to learn programming in your free time, maybe, and you're wondering, could I do this full time if I learn it in my free time, or would I have to get a degree, maybe like the Open University or something? And to that, I would say, if you're already working, you're probably in that situation. You are probably better off learning it in your free time, and you very much could go far with it, depending on how much time you have. There's plenty of examples of people who started out working in supermarkets, etc., and then they've just learned in their free time, and eventually they've started to earn enough money where they could quit their day job and carry on making games, which, I mean, that's the goal. So yeah, I hope this was at all useful and wasn't just a big ramble. Probably just a big ramble, first video and all. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and I guess I'll see you next time.